Yo, what's up guys? I'm Alleging Tuna, and this is an episode of Tuna's Tips, a video series where I show you the upcoming raid bosses in Pokemon Go and give you the best idea of counters to use to maximize your success. Let's hop right into it. We've got Registeel popping back into raids Wednesday, February 1st at 10 a.m. local time. It'll be here for 1 week. It will leave on Wednesday, February 8th at 10 a.m. local time. The shiny is going to be available. It's also going to come with the exclusive move Zap Cannon. That is a legacy move, so if you're looking for a Registeel with Zap Cannon, now would be a good time to raid them. Let's head on over to Pokebattler and get right into it. Registeel is a Steel-type Pokemon. It says so in its name. Its Hundo CP, when it is not weather boosted, is 1398, and if you manage to fight one of these in snowy conditions, it will be weather boosted, and the Hundo CP will be 1748. I have a comparison. Non-shiny and shiny right there, okay? That's Registeel in a nutshell. It's a steel type. It's weak to 3 things: fire, ground, and fighting types. Pokebattler's pulled up. Let's cover some of those megas first. Let's look at your mega counters. You want to bring mega Pokemon into raids because they boost the damage of like type Pokemon in the battle. So if you're going to be bringing one, your top counter, Mega Blaziken, counter and Blast Burn. Blaziken's cool because it's going to be boosting 2 different types that are effective against Registeel. So if you're going to bring a Mega and you have access to Blaziken, bring the Blaziken. You'll be boosting the fire type damage, and you'll also be boosting fighters that are in that raid with you. So make sure it's got counter and Blast Burn. That's a community day move. Mega Blaziken, pretty solid. If you don't have access to a Blaziken, you can use Charizard. Bring Mega Charizard Y. That does a little bit more damage. It's got a little bit faster time to win. If you look at the bottom there where it says time to win 1714 versus time to win of 825, that's like 100 seconds. That's more than 100 seconds. So please don't misclick your Charizard when you Mega Evolve it. Bring Y, leave X, for X things. Okay, sure. So bring Mega Charizard Y, please. You can bring Mega Alakazam, but that's going to be a lot slower. You're not going to be boosting any other psychic type damage users in the thing, because nobody's going to be bringing psychic types, right? That's not an effective counter. But Alakazam, if you're not boosting other people's damage and you just want to do some damage of your own, pretty good choice for bringing for damage. But make sure it's got counter and focus blast, neither of which are stab moves on Alakazam. Okay. If we keep looking at other megas, you have Houndoom up there. Mega Houndoom, make sure it has Fire Fang and Flamethrower. You bring that Fire Doggo. Other choices that you could bring: Mega Salamence, Fire Fang and Fire Blast, but again, that'll be boosting Dragon and Flying types, so we won't be bringing too many Dragon and Flying types against this boss. Mega Lopunny will boost fighting type damage, double kick and focus blast, but it is outclassed by Blaziken. Doesn't mean that Lopunny's bad, but there's a better choice. If you have a Lopunny and that's what you want to bring it. Mega Swampert will boost your ground type damage, Mud Shot and Earthquake on that if you bring it. Mega Gengar is kind of just a glass cannon that deals a lot of damage, Lick and Focus Blast on him. Let's go over and look at your shadow counters, your shadow list, your list of shadow counters. You have Shadow Moltres coming in there as your top shadow counter. Make sure it's got Fire Spin and Overheat. That's a lot of Stardust to get one of those powered up, but Shadow Moltres, pretty good for a fire type. Shadow Ho-Oh is another shadow type, Incinerate and Sacred Fire plus Shadow Entei, put Fire Fang and Overheat. So your top 3 shadow counters are all fire types. So if you have those available in your group, so maybe bring some fire type megas, right? Shadow Machamp shows up there as the first shadow fighting type, but it does less damage than a Terrakion, okay? Keep that in mind. Shadow Machamp with counter and dynamic punch, though. No, a lot of us have those built. It's still a solid choice. Shadow Charizard shows up there. Fire Spin and Blast Burn. Mamoswine with Mud Slap and high horsepower, followed by Hariyama with counter and dynamic punch. Again, all of those are shadow choices. Should do good damage. Shadow Typhlosion and Arcanine are both up there. Incinerate and Blast Burn on the Typhlosion. Fire Fang and Flamethrower on your Arcanine. Bring those fire moves. You also have Magmortar, another fire type with Fire Spin and Fire Punch. Shadow Golurk with Mud Slap and Earth Power, going a little ground moves on that one. Shadow Salamence with fire moves as well, non-stab, but bring Fire Fang and Fire Blast. If we continue going, you end up getting a Shadow Houndoom with Fire Fang and Flamethrower, and I'm not sure if there's any more shadows on this list. There are not, so those are your shadow counters. It's looking like fire, pretty strong for shadow. Fighting, pretty strong for shadow. Not many ground types showing up there towards the top of the list, but there are a couple. Keep that in mind. These are non-shadow, non-mega choices. Your highest damage is going to be Reshiram, Fire Fang, and Fusion Flare. Fusion Flare is an elite TM move, so if you were recently rating Reshirams when that was available, like last month and the month before, it should have Fusion Flare. So Fire Fang and Fusion Flare on that Reshiram. The time to win on that is a 769, followed by Terrakion, who is a fighting type, right? Fighting and rock. Double kick and Sacred Sword. The time to win on Terrakion is a 793. That is only, you know, about 25 seconds or so slower than a Reshiram, so it's still a pretty solid choice as a fighter, okay? Double kick and Sacred Sword on that Terrakion. It does damage better than a Shadow Machamp, right? Since they added double kick to Terrakion. Keldeo is up there if you did your special research, if you paid for that ticket. Low kick and Sacred Sword. I'd love to see some Keldeo out there. That's a pretty cool Pokemon, I think. Chandelure is a fire type with Fire Spin and Overheat. No Community Day move on that one. Lucario, you can bring Lucario with Counter and Aura Sphere. Ho-Oh with Incinerate and Sacred Fire ++. That's the purified form of your Apex one. If you did that, I don't recommend doing that, but if you did, hopefully it's powered up. You could bring it to the raid. Darmanitan with Fire Fang and Overheat shows up there, followed by Moltres with Fire Spin and Overheat. Again, a couple more fire choices. Conkeldurr, Counter and Dynamic Punch, pretty good. Conkeldurr's a good choice. Pheromosa might be a little too glass cannon-y, but if you bring her, Low Kick and Focus Blast there. Entei with Fire Fang and Overheat. A normal Blaziken with Fire Spin and Blast Burn, the Community Day move. Other choices, Emboar as a fire type with Ember and Blast Burn. Machamp showing up there. Machamp is the 15th overall non-shadow, non-mega choice for time to win, but if you have them built, still gonna be doing some damage, okay? Counter and Dynamic Punch on Machamp if he makes an appearance on your team. Theron Form Landorus with Mudshot and Earthquake, pretty sweet. Galarian Zapdos, I can't catch one of those, but if you manage to do that, counter in close combat, bring your Galarian Zapdos, that'd be a cool thing to see on the field. Garchomp with Mudshot and Earth Power. Earth Power is a Community Day move. Keep that in mind for Garchomp. It's also a ground type, so if people are boosting fire and fighting types, that might not be too good. Heatran with Fire Spin and Flamethrower. Excadrill with Mud Slap and Drill Run. Landorus with ground moves, Mudshot and Earth Power that time. Charizard shows up there. Fire Spin, Blast Burn with your Charizard, pretty standard. Breloom as a fighting type, fighting and grass type with Counter and Dynamic Punch, followed by Flareon. Getting into some very, they're pretty accessible Pokemon now. Flareon, Fire Spin and Overheat there. Flower Crown for extra bonus points, yep. Mamoswine with Mud Slap and everybody's favorite move, High Horsepower, shows up there as a ground type. Groudon at 26, that is a Groudon as a ground type. So fire and fighting seem to perform better based on movesets, but Groudon, Mudshot, and Earthquake, if you must bring our favorite Groudon there, right? I think I've got him. Yeah, I've got him right here behind me. I love that Pokemon. Typhlosion with Incinerate and Blast Burn. Buzzwole with Counter and Superpower. Sirfetch'd with Counter and Close Combat, and followed by Infernape with Fire Spin and Blast Burn. That's a Community Day move. Let's go over. I'll show you guys the team that I plan on bringing, and we'll see. All right, if you guys have never built a team for raiding in Pokemon Go, it's pretty easy. Click the Pokeball, click the battle button in the top right there, slide over to party, and then scroll all the way down. Luckily, I've already put my team together. What you do though, if you don't have one, click that green plus sign. It'll set your nickname for the team. You click OK, and it puts it down there in the bottom. You have an empty template, but I already filled one of those in. I've got my Registeel team right here, and I've got it blown up on the side of the screen so we can see a little bit better with a couple extra added options. I'm going to be leading with a Mega Blaziken with Counter and Blast Burn. Be boosting the damage of fighting and fire types like we mentioned earlier. Mega Blaziken, followed by, I've got Terrakion. I've got a couple Terrakions that I have powered up there. They have Double Kick and Sacred Sword on them. Followed by 3 Machamps. That's it. Like, my team's pretty simple. A lot of fighting, a lot of kicking. With Counter and Dynamic Punch on those Machamps. If you want to bring Reshiram was the #1 fire choice for non-shadow, non-mega. Then Chandelure does pretty good, and it looks pretty cool as well. Fire Spin and Overheat there. And if you want to bring another fighter, I chose Lucario this time because, you know, who doesn't like Lucario? But that pretty much covers it for what we've got here today. You guys have been awesome. If you would like to join us live on Twitch rating these, I'd love to have you. I stream every day. Twitch TV/Alleging Tuna. We're live 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. Anybody is able to raid. We have a pretty good time with it. I'd love to be the one who got you your shiny Registeel. Come on by. You guys have been awesome. Stay safe out there. We'll see you next time. Peace.